the Guitar Guy, and today we are going to be looking at capos and how to use them. So I've had a few people ask me, how do I use a capo when transcribing a song? Because often they'll learn a song in a certain key, and let's say in this case it's in the key of G, and they go, yeah, I like it in the key of G, but I don't really like playing that G chord for whatever reason. It might be a G and an A minor, for example, and they're wanting to know, how can I use the capo to change the shapes that I'm doing so that I can do it in another key, and how do I figure that out? So the cool way to do it is to think of your bass notes. So as soon as you've got a bass note, in this case, I'm playing a G. So for example, I just made that up for an example. We've got a G chord. So why not put the capo on that fret so it blocks it off? So essentially that will become like a bar chord of G, or an E chord. Now that might sound crazy, but if I do this, it'll make a lot more sense. If you focus on that, here's that fret, right? There's where the G note was. It was a G chord before. Now I'm making the same sound, but with an E. Okay? And so it changes the key that I'm in, changes the shapes that I'm doing. Can't even remember the chord shapes that I was doing before. All of a sudden I'm doing different shapes, so based on that bar chord. So bar chords are a real good clue is to change the key. And I may go, you know what, I don't like that position either. I don't want to do those chord shapes, but I still want to be in that key. So there's my G. So where's another G? There's another G right there, okay? There's another G. So now I put the capo on that G. Now if I play, that's a D string. Now that's a D, it becomes like a D shape because it's technically the same as a D was. So therefore, my D becomes that G chord. So I'm going to go back through that again. So that's technically a G, okay? It's a G sounding, but I'm playing a D shape. That's where it gets confusing, so just bear with me. That's those three chords. So I just knew what those other chords were because my ears are good enough to be able to figure out that quickly. There's another way of doing the capo position, so I don't have to do the shapes I was doing before. Now let's go back to where I was before. Go through those shapes again. Now we're in the E shapes. A, B, and E. Don't worry about what the names are. It's just we're just transposing where those chords are going to be by using the capo. Otherwise, we're in the normal position of G. Okay, so there's three different ways. We can keep on going with that. There's another G. There's another G, and if we keep on going, we can keep on finding other Gs. There's another G there, so if I want to, I can go right up to the crazy little 10th fret right up there, and now I'm going for the 5th string here, which is, that would be an A normally, wouldn't it? So if I play an A shape, that gives me my G chord. I'm playing those same three chords just in different shapes. Every time I change my capo position, I'm in a different set of chords. But if you know your chord scales, which I do have a video out about you can actually catch up with, that'll help out a lot. You'll know the sort of inversions that you can go to. So there we have a whole bunch of different ways of playing that G chord. So you don't have to be limited. I mean, if you're playing in a band, for example, and let's say they're in a bizarre, I used to play in a swing band, and they did a lot of stuff in the key of E flat. So there's my E flat, which is a really weird key for me because already straight away I'm in a weird position. You might be sort of... And I'm doing a lot of bar chords there, aren't I? So I'm all over the show. I might go, well, let's just put a capo on that position and see what happens if I don't have to do that anymore. Well, that got rid of a couple of bar chords, which I'm pleased about. Another example of how I might change things. Another example is you might be playing, let's say you're playing in an originals band, I should say, and you're doing something in the key of E, and the band is playing this chord progression. It might be E, A, B. Okay, let's say that's what the band's doing, and you've already got another guitar player in the band, and he's going, and he might be singing, he or she might be singing they're already playing those chords, and we go, well, what am I going to do? I'm another guitar player. What am I going to do? Why not put the capo on and do some different stuff? So let's go. There's an E on the E, so let's go right up to the E on the 7th fret. I'm going to put the capo there and play an A shape. I'm a little bit out of tune, but there we go. I figured it out. Got it in the end. So I could be doing something like that, but instead I could be doing something. See, it changes the instrument. I'm just strumming the bottom strings, and I've got this sort of mandolin sort of style going on. And a really good example of the capo being used, and there's one more example and then we'll finish up, is the song Free Falling. So if you've got the song, here's the, so that's a capo on 3 and I'm doing D shapes. This is Tom Petty's song, Free Falling. So that's what one guitar is doing. One guitar is doing that, the other guitar is doing this. It's playing with a capo on, because that was, by the way, there was a D shape, but that note there, if I take the capo off, is an F. So I put my capo on there, on F, there becomes my, I can either do F chord or I could use my capo and use E shapes. Now together, magically, Tom Petty, being the genius that he was, absolutely nailed it when he put that there and then played the other capo position playing. They just work so beautifully together. So there's an example of where a capo actually made the song. So capos can be awesomely fun, and I don't shy away from using them. If you ever hear someone say, "Oh, capos are cheating, shouldn't be using that because just do your bar chords, man." Well, I've had that said to me many, many times, but those dudes are no longer musicians. Those guys are all doing other jobs. So capos is the key, alright? So don't be afraid of capos. Mark the Guitar Guy, going to be signing off real soon, but make sure you support me. I've got Patreon, I've got all sorts of ways you can help me out with my little channel, keeping these lessons coming to you boys and girls. If you want to help me, support me, go to my Facebook page. You can book a lesson one-on-one. I can help you directly. Don't be afraid. A lot of people are doing it now. I know it can be scary because I'm supposed to be on YouTube and the scary dude that you've seen on TV and can't quite get the courage to talk to or play in front of. Honestly, it's a real cool experience, and I'd love to meet you and get to help you in some sort of way. Otherwise, you can go to my Patreon, you can support me on PayPal, many, many ways, marktheguitarguy.net. Pretty much Mark the Guitar Guy, you can contact me anyway. So I'll be back with another amazing lesson to make you more awesomized. We'll see you next time.